How do I write a digital marketing plan? Well, the first thing we have to do is we have to concentrate on finding Bob. The very first thing we have to do is we have to figure out who our Bob is. What does our ideal client look like? What do they take interest in? Where do they hang out? What music do they listen to? How old are they? We have to understand Bob's worldview, how Bob views the world. Once we have a clear buyer persona, we can start marketing to them, we can build our plan, and in this discussion, we're going to be looking at building a plan for a fashion brand, for instance. So we're going to use a fashion brand, but then we can extrapolate that to any type of brand. So how do I build a marketing plan? When we build a marketing plan, we are essentially creating a marketing funnel. So to simplify things, we would build an AIDA funnel. This same technique can be applied to any marketing campaign or long-term strategy for any product or service. What is an AIDA funnel? It is basically a marketing strategy that matches a buyer's decision-making process. So we take that decision-making process and we break it down into 4 simple steps that we can match our marketing to. Then we market to Bob in 4 simple steps in line with that buying process. So what are those 4 steps? Well, the 4 steps are attention, which is content that gets Bob's attention. Interest, content that generates Bob's interest. Desire, content that feeds Bob's desire. And action, content that Bob can act on. We create marketing content for each of those specific steps and lead our buyer to the purchase of our product. So where do I start? What action do I want Bob to take? The real secret to getting an AIDA marketing funnel working for you is to work in reverse, is to build it in reverse. So we will need to decide what action it is that we want our buyer to take when they get to the end of the marketing funnel, and we need to decide that at the very beginning. So we're going to build our funnel in reverse. So we just want Bob to buy our stuff, right? Buy my stuff. That's the action we want Bob to take. Or is it? Is Bob more valuable to you if he buys a product off of you once, or if he buys many products off of you over many months or even years? Maybe Bob is more valuable as a brand advocate, someone who likes to recommend your product because he likes it so much. Deciding what specific action you want Bob to take is extremely important. So what action do I want Bob to take? Let's say you want Bob to buy many things from you. Your main goal would be to get him to sign up to a membership scheme that gives huge benefits to Bob, where you can communicate offerings to him on a regular basis. Amazon Prime is an example of this. In that case, your end action is not to get a sale, but to get a subscription to your membership scheme. That's the action we want Bob to take. So what about this next phase, this desire phase? Desire is where you create an emotional commitment to your product. This is usually in the form of regular communication through something like an email list. We need to build Bob's desire for our products over time. Now, sometimes people will buy our products straight away, but oftentimes we have to develop desire for a product. So by getting him on our email list, we can market to Bob continuously. But the thing about email lists is that Bob does not want you to sell stuff to him. Bob will only join your email list if he gets something useful, and that something is often free for signing up to your list. So for a fashion brand, we could create a fashion tips newsletter where the main focus is on giving Bob fashion tips that he will find useful and relevant. Then at the end of every email, we mean right at the end, we give the option for them to take advantage and offer our call to action, which in this case might be the membership scheme sign up. So we use our list to send him useful, relevant, free information, but all the time we're trying to push him towards that sign up where we can push him special offers, discounts, maybe end of line stock. But the important thing to understand here is we have to create desire through continuous communication. And if Bob gives us his email, he has given us the opportunity to talk to him on an ongoing basis. And that's why email lists are probably the most valuable resource you can create when it comes to online marketing. So how do I get them on my list? How do I create interest type content? Before someone will give you their email, they'll need to know that what they're going to get from that email meets their needs. So we need to create free to access content, and email content is not free to access as the transaction cost is Bob surrendering his email address. This can be in the form of videos, articles, podcasts, and in the case of a fashion brand, again, we would go with fashion tips. We would create visually pleasing set of blog posts or articles and then encourage them to get something for free by signing up to our email list. So at this stage, we're working on their interest. So we're going to do some videos, we're going to do some blogs, some articles, and we're going to every time ask them to sign up to our email list. But how do I get them to my articles? How do I get their attention in the first place? I need to go from attention to interest, desire, action. But what's the attention phase? This is where social media marketing comes in. We would pick the social channels where we feel Bob hangs out, and we would create interesting content there that Bob will engage with and share. So in this instance, we would look at using Pinterest and Instagram, as this is where very visual products, especially fashion, do extremely well in terms of creating a viral presence where your content gets reshared to other Bobs. So we'll create a post on social media that links to our article. Then our article will have an email sign up, and then we get them on our newsletter list. And on our newsletter list, we can now ask them to join our membership scheme where we can sell product to them on a regular basis. So what type of content would I create for my social media campaign? Well, photos of the clothing would be the obvious content type to create. So investing in the photography side of your marketing is going to be key if you're a fashion brand. Maybe someone in the business needs to be trained in photography. Your product has to look good, has to appeal to Bob, and Bob is your ideal perfect client, has to resonate with him or her. Good quality images of your product, both catalogued and shot in a fashion setting, or even showing people, normal people wearing the clothes, will get Bob's attention. We could even do a campaign where we ask people who are wearing the clothes to share those clothes and hashtag them on Instagram or share them on Pinterest so that we can create user-generated content. And if you can do that, then Bob will buy from you using your AIDA marketing funnel. So the marketing content with Flow, we have a plan. Yes, we do. We've built the marketing plan in reverse. Let's flip it back and look at it from Bob's perspective. Step 1, attention, Bob finds you on Pinterest. Step 2, interest, Bob reads your article on your website, which was linked from Pinterest on how to choose a shirt. Step 3, desire, Bob signs up for your free PDF guide on how to buy a shirt that fits properly and joins your email list. Step 4 is action. He then receives your newsletter on a regular basis, which gives more fashion tips, and then subscribes to your membership scheme where he gets a clothing discount and regular offers. And step 5, which is the bonus, Bob shares the information you give him with others who might have the same fashion sense as him. And Bob has now traveled down your marketing funnel. You have a marketing flow.